You don't know what a thrill it is to be the 18th speaker on a 3-day program. Last night you heard Rick King. I think most of you did. Those who were sleeping got a nice rest. He said several things about me. Well, frankly, I accept those because Rick King is the best speaker in the whole Rotary world. And that's not just my opinion, that's his. He's such a handsome guy, kind of a sex symbol for women that don't really care. And he's such a good dresser. He can make a Walmart suit look better than anyone I've ever seen. And you ought to see his law office. It's filled, it looks like a photomat store. Pictures, plaques, awards all over the place, many of which he's given to himself. Without Rick, Russell Hampton would go out of business. But with all those conditions, I have to admit that he was really one of Rotary's 2 greatest presidents. Now, the other one, modesty, prevents me from mentioning. Last week I saw a guy on the street and he said, "I heard your last speech." I said, "Well, I'm not sure it was my last one." He said, "It should have been." I've given this speech for over 30 years to pets all across the country. And I just decided that I'll keep giving this speech until I'm totally senile. And then I'll at least believe I'm giving a different speech. And as I look around this audience, I see all this Rotary brass. You know, Rotarians come and go, but past district governors just accumulate. I remember my first contact with a Rotary past district governor. You know, or even the governors. You know, I was a brand new Rotarian. I belonged to the Berkeley Club up north, and we were holding our district conference in one of the big hotels up in Sacramento. And it was just the time the hotels had taken out the paper towels and put those hot air machines in. And sure enough, during the conference, I went in there, washed my hands, and I went over to this machine, and somebody had scotch taped a little card right above it. And it said, "Push the button and hear a short message from the district governor." Well, I know we occasionally joke about governors and past governors, but they're really fantastic Rotarians who just generously give their time and their effort, and we love them all. Just kind of like a favorite pair of old tennis shoes, all worn out except the tongue. Yeah. Now, to prepare these remarks today, I visited rest homes and sanitariums up and down the Pacific Coast just to talk to past club presidents. It was a thrilling sight to see these club presidents lying there just being waited on hand and foot, and as they clutched the coverlets, they wanted to tell me to tell you that your time will be coming, and it'll come a heck of a lot faster than most of you realize. I'll never forget my first day as a Rotary Club president. Oh, I remember I stepped up to the rostrum. I grabbed that gavel in my right hand and the bell in my left hand, and whang! I missed the bell. And I broke the index finger on my left hand. And from then on, my year kind of went downhill. I had one of those years where you start slow and then taper off. But I can tell you that being club president is the best job in Rotary, next to assistant bulletin editor. Because every week you learn so much more about Rotary, week after week. I'm kind of an organized guy, so I used to keep little notes and remember all the things that I was learning as a Rotary Club president. I thought I'd share a couple of these lists with you today. The first list I made up was I prepared about the end of the first month as club president. And these are the things I wrote down of what I was learning as club president. Number one, the club president has an almost impossible time of being an early leaver. Number two, that first meeting of the year will give you a brand new feeling, kind of a sickness in the pit of your stomach. Number three, it's important to keep the fingers of the left hand off the bell when you have the gavel in your right hand. Number four, the club secretary is supposed to do all the work. Number five, a speaker on artificial insemination is not a good program for Ladies' Day. Number six, the first law of the club president, whatever hits the fan will never be distributed evenly. Number seven, a Rotarian is a person who can find 27 different classifications in the banking industry. Number eight, it's best not to provide at your club meetings under heavy sedation. Number nine, Rotary lunches are always a thing of beauty. It's the only place you can pay $14.25 for a peanut butter sandwich. I know our club for years, we've been trying to get the price of the lunch as low as the quality of the meals. Number 10, every district governor will suggest at least one scheme that won't work, and that'll be the one you try in your club. I know during my year we had some disagreements with our district governor, mostly on religious principles. He thought he was God and we didn't. Well, 3 months went by and I learned more and more about Rotary, so I made up another list. Number one, the club secretary does not necessarily do all the work. Number two, fining the district governor $10 on the governor's annual visit is not his idea of fun. Just remember, there are 530 district governors in the entire world, and half of them are below average. Now, I remember one year we had a governor that seemed really normal till you got to know him. Number three, my club directors always approached a new project on a 3-step plan. Ready, fire, aim. Number four, you can sleep undetected during the speech by resting your head on your hands like you're shading your eyes, like a couple of you guys are doing there in the back of the room. Number five, it's good to emphasize the 4-way test. I know my club was so small that we only had a 3-way test. We had those 3 questions. Is it fun? Will it hurt anybody? Will anyone find out? That's all you had to know to belong to our Rotary Club. Number 6, we had a community service project. Our motto, get crime off the sidewalks, let alone in the streets. We sent kids to summer camp whether they wanted to go or not. Number 7, one of the most intriguing talks of my year was called General Custer is Alive and Well in Argentina. I remember one day we had a speaker on who spoke about the Jimmy Carter Library and the Ronald Reagan Library. The Ronald Reagan Library, the Gerald Ford Library, and the Bill Clinton Adult Bookstore. And number 8, A Rotarian is a person who will travel 56 miles for a makeup meeting and then leave before the program begins. Number 9, a club project not worth doing is not worth doing well. Number 10, you should learn that before you criticize a Rotarian, walk a mile in his shoes. At least he'll be a mile away and barefoot. Well, the year crept on as club president. By January, I was confident, I was so self-assured. But I continued to learn other things about Rotary. And here's the list I made up along with my January New Year's resolutions. Number 1, you wonder what in the heck the club secretary really does. The first rule of the club secretary, when you don't know what you're doing, always do it neatly. Number 2, there's practically no nonviolent way to stop a speaker who's gone past 1:30. Number 3, a $25 fine does not always build better friendships. Number 4, it's not too good of an idea to schedule a pacifist to speak at your club, especially on Veterans Day. Number 6, remember, the district governor is the person you call in the last minute to share the blame. You know, once in a while, I've seen district governors who really have delusions of adequacy. Number 6, frequently the club president will find out that the community service committee does not follow his or her suggestions. Number 7, the club directors do not always follow the club's president's suggestions. Number 8, nobody seems to follow the president's suggestions. Number 9, the club president is supposed to remember the RI president's theme. We've got a great theme this year. I can't remember it, but we got a great theme this year. I know in my year, our theme was honk if you love Paul Harris. Number 10, one of the most intriguing programs we had of the year was a talk by the chief of police on the subject of prostitution. He called the subject, "It takes a heap of loving to make a home a house." You'll get that on the way home, I'm sure. Oh, he had great programs during my year. Penicillin, the gift for the man who has everything. We had Dr. Krikorian come and give a motivational speech. Judge Judy spoke on Brotherhood Week. We had speakers on brain surgery for fun and profit. Home tattooing by numbers. Can a woman 65 find happiness with a man twice her age? That just gives you an idea of the wealth of information you can pick up just by going to a Rotary Club meeting. Oh, I remember one fascinating program we had. We had an armless sculptor. He held the chisel in his mouth and his wife hit him on the back of the head with a mallet. Well, no matter what you think, your year's going to come to an end. By then, the club president's knowledge is almost complete. In those waning days of my year, I wrote these items down. Number 1, it's important to keep the fingers of the left hand off the bell when you have the gavel in your right hand. Number 2, a district governor is the kind of person who's always around when they need you. Most district governors have friends they haven't even used yet. Number 3, club presidents are supposed to uphold the classification principle, whether they understand it or not. You know, I've been always intrigued by classifications. I have a friend in the New York Rotary Club. He has a classification, diamond cutter. He mows the lawn on Yankee Stadium. Number 4, every Rotary Club's going to have a pessimist and an optimist. A pessimist, of course, a guy who wears belt and suspenders at the same time. The optimist is the guy who gets married at the age of 70 and looks for a home near a school. Number 5, your international service program ought to be more than making a Chrysler dealership in Tokyo. Number 6, Rotarians like to hear a speaker every week, but they only have an attention span of about 5 minutes, and that's not consecutive. Number 7, vocational talks by the local undertaker should be avoided, even if the subject is how to look sad at a $35,000 funeral. Number 8, you're going to learn that most Rotarians are not old, they're just mature. I wouldn't say the members of my Rotary Club, well, our lunches are catered by Meals on Wheels. We have a breakfast club that meets at noon. We have a few older fellas in my club. There was one guy who was bragging. He says, my wife says, let's go upstairs and make love. He says, you can't do both, you know. I don't know why they think Rotarians are so old. I said to my wife the other day, do I really look 87? She says, no, but you used to. There was one guy in my club last week. He says, you know what? I made love for 1 hour and 3 minutes. Someone says, when was that? He says, the night they turned the clocks back. Well, I don't know why. I just don't know why they think Rotarians are so old. In my club, the real estate guy who gives out calendars every year, yeah, in our club, he only gives them 3 months at a time. Number 9, at our district conference, our club won the district award for our literacy program. We were smuggling books into Texas. We got all 3 of them out of Oklahoma. And number 10, finally, that last meeting of the year is going to give you a brand new feeling. But this time, it's not a sickness in the stomach. It's going to be a sickness in your heart because you've finished one of the grandest years you could ever experience. Well, I better say something before I finish. I was giving a speech the other day, and we're driving home, and I asked my wife, well, how did I do tonight? She said, well, you did pretty well, but you missed several good opportunities to sit down. I think I've missed several this morning. But as I look around, I'll bet there's a common goal in this room of every club president that's looking for success. For success as a club president, success for our club, success for Rotary International, success for our district. But stop. Just take a look at your hands. The success of your club is almost entirely in your hands because you're the president. Most club presidents start the year out with the club president's prayer. Dear God, don't let the club fall apart during my year. But it need not fall apart. It can be the best year your club has ever had. You see, the success of Rotary, as Rick King said last night, the success of Rotary is really in the hands of the 34,000 Rotary Club presidents around the world. It's in your hands because you are the president. You're the leader. You set the tone. You create the enthusiasm in your club. You make people want to belong and stay and join your Rotary Club. Oh, there's hardly a club president that hasn't finished the year, who hasn't said, oh, if I could only do it over again, I would have done this or done that or done a better job. Oh, if I could be club president again, I'll I'll tell you what I would do. The first thing I'd do as club president would be insist upon better weekly programs. See, a Rotary Club meeting must be fun. It must be enjoyable. People must want to come and enjoy the friendship and the fellowship and the good time they find at a weekly meeting. Good programs, good meetings. That's the greatest insurance you'll have for retaining high club attendance, for maintaining regular attendance, for expanding your membership and eliminating the early leaver program. Of course, every meeting can't be a production of American Idol or perhaps the extravaganza of the Super Bowl. But you've got to have interesting meetings each week if you want to retain a membership. People want to join a Rotary Club that's alive and fun, and you have a good time. Your program committee has got to be the most important committee in your entire club. The weekly meetings are the only part of Rotary that most of your club members see on a regular basis. Members should look forward to attending. Oh, I got to go to Rotary today. No, sir, I get to go to Rotary today. Here's where I get a installation of new energy and thrill of knowing that we're doing something in the community and in the world. You see, make it fun. The weekly meeting is the primary judge of the success that you're going to have as club presidents. Oh, I'd spend a lot more time on the care and feeding of our speakers. I'm ashamed at how poorly most Rotary clubs treat their guest speakers by the thoughtless lack of common courtesy or even a note of thanks. Do you reserve a parking space for them if you have a parking problem where your meeting is? Is there someone there at the door to greet the speaker and introduce them around to the members of your club? Think how poorly we introduce the speakers, because the introduction sets the stage for the speaker to do their very best job. And think how seldom our members ever bother to walk up and say, "Thanks for coming to our meeting. We appreciate you giving us the time." You may not agree with the speaker, or may not be the greatest program, but they gave their time and their energy, and your members ought to appreciate it and show it. Time after time, the club president or a sergeant at arms, never let that program get out of your control. Never sit down. If you've got somebody else at that microphone, they will kill your meeting quicker than you can imagine. Always keep in control, because the president or some speaker or sergeant at arms are stealing the time of the speaker just by fooling around or not really organizing tightly the program itself. Don't steal the speaker's time any more than you'd steal their wallet. Most speakers have a prepared program, a prepared message. They can't be turned on and off like a garden hose. And you're the only one who can assure the speaker is treated well. Then take a look at your rostrum. Does it have a light that works? Hey, you got this working this year. Yeah. Do you have a light that works? Does the PA system operate if you need one? Look, does the club banner look like it's a distress signal hanging on the wall? The atmosphere of a meeting room can do more for your meeting than you can imagine. The banners, the lectern, the atmosphere actually influences the success of a meeting itself. I'll never permit empty tables down in the front of the hall. It's so discourteous to a speaker who's trying to make a message and you're talking to empty tables. You can control it. That first meeting, you have empty chairs in the first row. You find everybody in the back row, the number of chairs that are empty, and you will fill up the chairs the next week. You see, don't let these discourteous to the speaker, making it more difficult for the speaker to do their best job. Don't permit members to sit in the rear of the room and let the speaker talk to empty chairs. Oh, then I'd provide a little gift for the speaker. It might be a product from some local community, of your community, a gift basket perhaps, a symbol of Rotary. In these days with the high gasoline prices, consider an additional gift card, $25, $50 if your speakers come from some long distance. See, the value of these gifts are not nearly as important as the thought of gratitude to your guests who gave their time and energy so graciously just to entertain or inform the members of your club. Then I'd take a real hard look at those 20 to 25 minutes I have as president to conduct the business of the meeting. I'd make good use of those minutes. I'd just not follow the way we've always done it. If I needed more time, I'd just take it at the beginning of the meeting. Seldom does a Rotary program run late because of the speaker or what is at the end of the program. They run late because the president has not organized and started the program early enough in the program. I've attended meetings so bad that I think I'll get it and walk out of the back room here. Then I realize I'm the speaker. And then we introduce our visitors. I'd make it alive, sincere, and fun. See, do you realize that the introduction of guests at your weekly meeting is one of the most interesting and unique parts of Rotary International, because it's a symbol that each one of us can walk into 34,000 communities of this world and be accepted as a friend. Each one a guest. A Rotarian is a privilege to walk into a Rotary club if you got the price of the lunch or the dinner or whatever. So find out the names of the guests. Make those introductions warm and friendly, as you would introducing a guest into your office or your home. As you close the meeting, thank the guests for being there. We're glad to have you, and you're always welcome here. Oh, if I could do this job over again, I'd never give encouragement to early leavers by saying, well, now it's time for the early leavers to go. No, sirree. I would let it be known that very first meeting that we stay for the entire program when we come. I'd not let my club be disrupted by the thoughtless and discourteous acts of those who have made a habit of when the program starts, they walk out. If they're committing bankruptcy in their business, they ought to stay there first and take care of the business. Some people just have developed a habit. Don't let that happen, because it's so discourteous to the rest of the members as well as your speakers. Oh, if I were club president again, at every meeting we'd have some interesting Rotary information about the fascinating history, traditions, and customs of Rotary around the world. Maybe a committee report of what we're doing this time. Throughout the year, I'd call on those past presidents of the club that sit in the back of the room and say, give us 3 minutes. What are the most exciting things the club did in 1992 or 1987 or whenever you were club president? And all of a sudden you brought a group of people back into the flow of the Rotary Club meeting that have felt that they're out to pasture. Oh, I might have a short Rotary presidential minute, a few minutes, or minute or two each week, some about the history, the tradition. You can easily find it in that great book, The ABCs of Rotary. Or from my latest book, as I was saying. As a matter of fact, that book has many pages of just little presidential moments, little paragraphs that you can insert in the program or in your club bulletin of emphasizing the goodwill, the activity, the enthusiasm, what it means to be a Rotarian. Oh, if I could be president again, I'd do everything I could to make my meetings come alive. And I've come to the conclusion that the biggest single reason for the drop of membership in Rotary is that meetings are just not worth attending. Now, the second thing I'd do if I could be president again is make my club relevant to the community. Service is the reason for our existence. I've seen clubs where their only service activity is perhaps an annual gift to the Tennis Elbow Society, or perhaps once in a while they give a check to the society to protect azaleas during nuclear attack. They attend the cheerleaders' car wash, of course. They support the Boy Scouts pumpkin sale, and they think they've done enough in the community. Of course, we all support these youth activities and good works in our community, but we also need some hands-on activity if your club is going to be alive. Far too many Rotary clubs have no program program at all, no hands-on service except the activity of writing checks to other organizations in the community that are doing things for the youth and the adults and the seniors and the needs of the community. You can drive down the highways of this nation and never know that there's a Rotary Club that even exists, except for the aging sign out there at the city limits that says, "When Rotary goes to lunch." Take a hard look at any city. There are jobs to be done. In every community you can find people that are homeless and hungry. There are problems with drugs and substance abuse and schools and community recreation facilities that need repair and improvement and expansion. So my plea is simply this: if your Rotary Club is going to be relevant to the world and today in this 21st century, we must discover and address some of the real problems of our community. The type of thing that you heard at the luncheon speech yesterday. You see, Rotary check writing is no substitute for hands-on community service, because our great Rotary Club does both. If you want busy people to join your Rotary Club, you got to be doing something that merits their time and their attention. Every member needs a worthwhile job, which is building a better community. Oh, if I could be president of my club again, we'd create the Rotary image in our town. We'd build the Rotary playground and the Rotary drug prevention program. We'd have Rotary shelters and the Rotary food bank and the Rotary youth center. We'd show the community that Rotary is alive and well in our community. Oh, if I could be president again, we'd create so many things that the community would say, that is Rotary. Frankly, I'm just tired of seeing Rotary clubs being the finance or the fundraising committee for every other group in town, without Rotary ever getting much of a recognition or thank you. And we wonder why nobody knows, what does Rotary Club do? Oh, if I could be president again, I would insist upon our Rotary Club having our own program of service. And we'd let the community know that Rotary is an organization of doers. We might even get some fantastic billboards around town telling Rotary does this. Do you see the point I'm trying to make, friends? If Rotary is going to be relevant, if Rotary is going to be attractive to busy men and women, committed young business and professional executives, we've got to have the courage to face the real problems of urban areas in the 21st century and get engaged. And Rotary leaders will say, I really want to belong to that Rotary Club. Well, the final step that I'd take, you've been waiting for that, I'd make more plans. This has been said many times here during your PETS program. Make some plans. I'd make more than I ever thought possible. You see, to have, as Rick said last night, to have a successful year, you've got to have some goals, and then you strive to achieve them. Because you're the person who will determine where your club is going to be on June 30th next year. Sure, you'll involve your club directors. You'll talk it over. You'll get the whole club involved. But you must take the lead. I'd know where we're going so we know if we arrived. Your goals must be written, must be shared with the club. Put them on a big poster. Put them on the wall on the first meeting of the year. Put them in the club bulletin. Talk about them from the rostrum. Talk about the progress we've made. Remember, that great philosopher said, Yogi Berra said it was so well, if you don't know where you're going, you're liable to end up someplace else. Oh, if I could lead my club again. Our club would have a new goal for vocational service and a new goal for community activities. We'd have a goal for our international service project and how we might involve the Rotary Foundation. We'd have a new goal for how many Paul Harris Fellows, how many new members, how they would be inducted into the club. We'd have set right now our fellowship events, our social activities, the participation of the whole district and the whole club into the district conference. I'd put those dates on the calendar right now. I'd know how many members we're going to be seeking and how they would be brought into the spirit of our Rotary Club. You see, if you don't have some measurable goals in each of these Rotary activities, you'll never know whether your Rotary Club achieves any success during your year or not. I'd print them. I'd talk about them. I'd measure them. I'd measure the progress. We got 1 and 3 accomplished. We got to work on this one. We're still working on that one. I'd show what we've accomplished and what we have yet to achieve. And the amazing thing is that they're your members of your club will take pride in their success because they have become their goals too. You see, my friends, there isn't a Rotary Club in the world that can't be improved. Oh, if I had the honor to lead my Rotary Club again, I'd say, yes, we can be a better Rotary Club. And would you believe it? It's all within your grasp because you're the president. Well, as Rick said, when those things are done, on the seventh day I'd rest. You see, fellow Rotarians, you've been selected to lead your Rotary Club next year, and it's a responsibility not to be taken lightly. Your club will always remember your year, one way or another. Make it be one that you'll be proud to recall. If there's any message here this morning, it's simply this. You don't have to do it the way your club has always done it. You must believe that you can do it better. And don't worry about the occasional thoughtless criticisms of the foot draggers in your club. Don't listen to the old past presidents or old district governors that caution, well, you know we've never done it that way before. Well, just remember, when that parade of success goes down the street, every one of those members will be wanting to be sitting on the bandwagon. And they'll be saying, we sure had a great year. Now that I've come to these autumn years, frankly, I'm in midwinter. I shuffle off into the sunset. Just remember that few of us are ever called the second time to lead our Rotary Club. Just the way you've been called for this next year. For most club presidents, the opportunity only knocks but once. Make the best of that opportunity, and then you'll not have to think back as I have, if I could only be president again. That's the job, my friends. So go to it, and God bless you.